All right, so this one is for my boys. This one's for my gay boys. All right, so y'all do know that we ain't straight, and so we don't live the same type of lifestyle as straight people. And so even when we're in relationships, I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about gay relationships and how we navigate our relationships versus heterosexual relationships. There are some similar things, but there are some differences. So I want to go through like 5 different things, that I feel can, be a pitfall for gay relationships. All right. So number 1, lack of communication. Avoiding open and honest communication about feelings, needs, and concerns can lead to misunderstandings and resentment. So for sure, I feel like a lot of times when people, especially men, get into relationships, they have this idea of like, who's the man and who's the woman? There are gender roles. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. But there are gender roles, but at the same time, we're still both men. But I think that men need to communicate their problems and their emotions and their feelings. I don't think men do a lot of great communicating in relationships with each other because of the testosterone levels. I really just I think that's the problem. I think a lot of men have a hard time. First of all, men probably have a hard time communicating just in general. But then you put 2 men in a house together with the male ego and the testosterone, the communication can get really, really crazy. Then the arrogance and, the dominancy factor, whether you're the man or the woman, the top or the bottom, it can be a whole thing. And so I think that communication is definitely key. And if you have bad communication, your relationship will not be successful at all, because there's certain things that man is going to need to tell you and need to be vent to you about and need to be open and honest with you about. And there's certain things that you're going to have to do the same about. And y'all going to have an open forum in a non-judgmental forum and be able to accept each other's truths. But if you don't create a safe space where there can be communication without bickering and arguing and turmoil, then that man is going to hide it from you. You're going to hide it from him, and you're going to seek different lives in the same house because y'all don't know how to communicate. Or inevitably, someone's going to end up cheating, or or there's going to be physical abuse, or there's going to be a lot of drama going on because bad communication across the board just makes for a terrible relationship. So, but I think that one kind of goes for everybody, gays and straights. Comparisons to idealized relationships. This is a big one for me. I think this is the most important one, honestly. Comparing one's relationship to societal norms or idealized versions seen in media can create unrealistic expectations and dissatisfaction. I think I learned this too. Like, I'm not my mom and my dad. I'm not my auntie and my uncle. I'm not my girl cousin and my boy cousins. And I'm not straight. Okay? And so I cannot idealize my relationship based on what society deems as a normal relationship, whatever that looks like. But when you try to have this cookie cutter, mom, dad, white picket fence, cat and dog and son, daughter, Little House on the Prairie type vibe, that's just not realistic. Okay? That's not realistic for me. That's not realistic for him. And that's not realistic for 2 men. We live a certain type of life that it's just different. And the way that our relationships work and our relationships dynamic, they're different. And it's not something that, I feel like it's forced. I just feel like it's a cultural thing. And it's one of those unspoken languages that it just happens in our world. Now, you can still have, in my opinion, I do feel like you can still have traditional relationships, but in this world, a lot of people are poly. There's a lot of open relationship, open marriages. 2 men together, there are things where everything is not just monogamous. And I just think that people need to be real about it. Like, sometimes you have couples where they do better when they are in thruples, or you have couples that love each other, but they're in open marriages, or you have couples that, are monogamous, but they sleep with other couples or they sleep with other people from time to time. Like, that just is the culture. Like, a lot of people do it. But then you also have some people who are like, hey, I'm never having a threesome. I'll never be in an open marriage. I'll never do that. And that's fine, and that's their prerogative as well. But when you try to model yourself after your mom and dad or what you see husband and wife do, it's just not that tradition. It's not the same. The lifestyle is not the same. What we do, our events, our culture is just not the same. So I think that you set a false expectation of that. And then when you get hit with the reality of maybe, oh my God, well, while you might have this reality of, I want to be in this relationship like my mom and my dad, then you come into the gay dating pool, you meet a guy of your dreams, you love him, and he tells you one day he wants to bring his homeboy in for a threesome. NSA fun, and you're over here crushed. But he's really telling you he loves you, and he probably does, but he just wants to have a threesome with his homeboy. And you can't believe that he wants to do it, and he's thinking, what's the problem? This is my friend. We're just gonna, bust one down real quick and it's okay. You're probably thinking like, what the fuck? Because you keep thinking that that's not normal. Because this is not how it happens. But at the end of the day, you'll gag because you'll get in this relationship with this man, and then he'll tell you, you know what? Yes, I think I love you, but I want to have an open relationship, or I want to be a swinger, or whatever the case may be. And you're sitting here like, well, what the fuck is this? And you got to also think too, men, we have versatile sex. So the energy and gender roles are constantly changing. Emotions are constantly changing. One day you could be the top. The next day you can be the bottom. It's a lot of different variables here. And so to try to look at television and see man and woman together and model your relationship based off of that can be a little bit confusing. So I think that you should, take a piece from here, take a piece from there, and then take a piece from yourself, marry it all together, and then decide what you want. Because you have to understand, you can have a little piece of tradition here from your parents, because I still believe that the way you were brought up and the way your upbringing still manifests into your relationships today. But I also feel like you can take a piece from the life that you live that your parents know nothing about, and they don't even know how to coach you or guide you in that. Because I know my parents did not know how to tell me how to be in a relationship with no man. I have to figure it all out through trial and error. You take some of the reality of it over here, then you take a piece of like what you deeming yourself is, your limits and what you want for yourself. You marry that all together and you create your own reality, you and your partner. That's the best thing that I could, say that, gay couples should do. Because you got to take a little bit from everywhere, though. You can't lean more to one side, because you also don't want to lean too far over here either. It can get a little crazy. Neglecting individual growth, focusing solely on the relationship without nurturing personal interest, growth, and development can lead to dependency and stagnation. Yes, I think it's very important. A lot of gay men, and typically younger gay men, they don't really focus on a lot of self-growth. They like to lean on the daddies of it all. And older gay men, they like to feel needed. So they'll get into these positions of power where then they have money and influences. So then they'll be tricking off on the young guys. And, these young guys are feeling like it's cute and it's cool. But then after that, they're feeling used and manipulated, because it's like, all right, this dude is trying to control you. And then sometimes, the older guy starts to feel used and manipulated, because he feels like, well, you're supposed to be my boyfriend. You're supposed to love me. You're supposed to care about me. And the young nigga's like, oh, no, you were just a job and a coin. So they have those dynamics too. So you need to not so much focus on the relationship, but focus on yourself as well. Because men, I don't care what nobody say, if you focus too hard on the relationship and you start to lose yourself, whether you're the submissive one or the dominant one, you will start to rebel. And men get competitive with each other in relationships. Men get catty with each other. It can turn into a competition. And then once it starts turning into a competition, that is when it gets real nasty. So I think if everybody focuses on themselves and they become interdependent, then everyone can appreciate what the other one has to offer. But if one is focused on more of the relationship and the other one is not, it can get kind of sticky, and it can get really messy, and then it can start to get really competitive and stagnant and mundane, and then the relationship just starts to go left. So I think it's important that everybody brings something to the table. Everybody be established and confident before they, get into that relationship. And I also think that it's important that you heal a lot of childhood trauma, because I think a lot of gay men get into relationships based off of trauma bonds. And sometimes you trauma bond with a person and then realize you don't even like that person, or this is not even a person that you would date. But because you guys felt trauma at this time, you guys related to each other in a place of, trauma, then you guys got into a relationship. But then you realize now that that stage of your life is over, you guys are not really compatible. Oh, that kind of led into my next thing. Ignoring emotional compatibility. Overlooking emotional compatibility, focusing solely on physical attraction or shared interests may lead to fundamental disconnects in the values and the long-term goals. Yeah, pretty much I talked about that. A lot of times we get into these relationships based on you got a fat ass, you got some body, your face look good. You were there for me. I'm going through a traumatic situation. I just want to whatever. And then you realize, bitch, I don't like you. I don't like you when your breath stink. You don't like the cuddle. I like the cuddle. You don't like the travel. I love the travel. Like once long term, once all the physical is out the way, once the honeymoon is out the way, once the smoke and mirrors is done, do we like to do the same shit? Do we like each other? Or did I just want to fuck that night and I was going through some shit and then we and you just ended up being together because, girl, you was cute. I want to fuck. You let me fuck. And then we had some good date nights. Because now I'm fucking around. Bitch, I'm, 3, 4, 5 years in. Bitch, I don't even like you. We're not even compatible, but we just was compatible at that time. So I think a lot of times, a lot of gay men, they jump into these relationships because everything moves so quick and we want to feel that feeling of like compatibility and love, and we want to show our friends that we can be in relationships. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen, men get in relationships, they in one today and they out of one tomorrow and they in the next one the next day. I mean, it just happens so quickly, but and it's no way, I can't even really judge it. It just is what it is. I just think that that's just how we move. And at the end of the day, I think that's why it moves so quickly, because people don't really take the time to assess, are you really compatible with this person? Or do you just want to fuck and they're cool for the moment? You know what I mean? All right. The last one is neglecting conflict resolution. Avoiding or mishandling conflict without addressing underlying issues can lead to unresolved tension and eventual relationship breakdown. Yes, this is a big one. I've been through this before. Not handling the conflict is a nasty one, because it can be one of those things where you got a situation going on and you want to bring up a situation that you frustrated with. Then all of a sudden, you bring up a situation that you frustrated with, and then you get whacked across the face like, wait a minute. Nah. Remember, you had me up when you did such and such, and I ain't say shit to you, and you thinking, well, wait, you was mad about that? Why you didn't say nothing? Well, I'm saying something now because what? And it's just like, no, you gotta say stuff when you have the problem, because when you hold on to shit like that, I'm not that kind of person. Everybody know, when I got a problem, I can't hold it. The problem is going to be met right here, right now. You know what I mean? I cannot hold the problem, because I like to get it off, and I like to get it off, and I like to get it out and move forward. But other people, they not like that. They like to hold the problem and surprise you with the problem later. You be like, shit, what happened? I thought I had the problem. You had one too? You know what I mean? Have you ever been in a situation where you like, well, shit, here, I'm finna, you all revved up to go off, and you back around and you get your ass whooped, and you thinking, well, wait, how did I end up here? I thought you had I thought I was mad. Then you gonna learn and you done did something that was fucked up last month. And I'm like, well, shit, why you didn't say that? But no, so that is a big thing because that can just start a lot of confusion, and you don't never know what you're just left in this place of uncertainty where you're just like, okay, so did I do something right? Did I do something wrong? I mean, is everything okay? Because don't come to me later. I mean, I've done this before, and I've been like, listen, are you okay? Tell me now, because I don't want you to tell me next month that you was mad that I went and did X, Y, Z. So are you going to be okay if I do this? Is it going to be a problem? If you say yes, forever hold your peace now. Or if you say no, okay, that's fine. But let me know, because you better throw this in my face down the line. Because you're not mad now. So don't get mad later, type stuff. So it's really interesting. I think that we need to have more conversations around, gay relationships and the dynamics. And maybe I'll have some boys come and we can talk about it here on the Black Couch. And it'd be fun. It'd be interesting. So let me know if you guys like these conversations. Let me know if you guys are in relationships and what are some of the things that you think are, some things that we should work on as a gay community and relationships, and some things that we're doing well. And let me know. But I want to also say, I also shout out to the boys, because I think I'm seeing a lot of boys getting married these days. I'm seeing a lot of people be more fluid and being, staying in faithful relationships and long-term relationships. And I do see a lot more communication happening, because I'm seeing a lot of guys that have been in longer relationships now. Now, granted, they do their thing on the side or they do their thing with their man, but there's a lot of more guys out here that are in relationships, but they have great understandings with each other. And I think that that's important. You got to have an understanding with the person that you're with, because at the end of the day, men are still men. And so it's different than a man and a woman dynamic. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys like these type of videos, let's keep it going. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Peace out.